At least that works.
Make sure they're good. Make sure you can hear it on your end, on your phone. Are you seeing it track?
Ashley, you hear that? Okay, I think we're good.
That's on the live stream.
Welcome to the November 25th, 2024 Board of Aldermen meeting. I now call this meeting to order. And please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would ask the city clerk to call the roll for attendance.
Alderman Allen? Here. Alderman Harder?
Here.
Alderman Hughes? Here. Alderman Kinsella?
Here.
Alderman Murphy?
Here.
Alderman Schwer?
Here.
Alderman Steinhebel?
Here.
And Alderman Weasahan?
Here.
Mayor Ray, Ms. Presiding, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. Before I go to the minutes, I just would like to ask everybody to say maybe a little prayer for that boy from CBC High School who was shot in that random shooting on the Interstate 55, I believe it was. It's just a very, I don't have no idea how he's doing. I have no information. Hopefully he's doing okay. As I watched that news, I watched a couple of news features, and the next 2 or 3 stories were about 4 other people who were relatively young who died violently. And one of them, there were 2 who were shot dead. There was at least over 70 gun casings found on the ground where the shooting occurred. Hopefully someday we may figure out when we have a dispute, picking up a gun isn't the answer. Let's talk about the minutes from the November 12th meeting. I seek a motion and second to approve.
Second.
And then I think Alderman.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to find my button. Yeah, I'm surprised. I watched the last week's meeting, so.
Great.
Mr. Mayor, I also had an opportunity to review the minutes as well as watch the videos. Well aware of the public hearings and the goings on in the last meeting.
Thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or amendment to the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Well, as city clerk, did anyone fill out a form to speak tonight?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. First on the agenda is a public hearing. It's a public hearing on the proposed 2025 budget for the city of Town and Country. I now declare the public hearing open, and I would ask the city clerk to enter exhibits.
Exhibit number 1 is affidavit of publication of notice of hearing published in the St. Louis County on November 8th, 2024. Exhibit number 2 is typewritten notice of hearing posted at the Municipal Center, Longview Farmhouse, the Firehouse, on the city's website, and sent via Notify Me. Exhibit number 3 is bill number 2459. And exhibit number 4 is PowerPoint presentation. Included, that PowerPoint presentation was included in the Board of Aldermen packet and posted on the website's document center. And that'll be the one that Mr. Dolly goes through tonight.
Thank you. And I would invite Mr. Dolly to the podium for that and to answer any subsequent questions. And also remind the board they'll have a couple of weeks, if they have questions that don't answer completely tonight, to work that out between Bob and Joanne. So.
No, I'm just trying to make sure it works. Sorry about that. Thanks, Megan. Good evening, everyone. So I will go quickly through this presentation, as I believe several of you have seen it multiple times. But I want to point out some important points to the 2025 proposed budget for you. So first of all, this first slide is the 2024 end of year budget summary. You'll see on the left-hand side the list of our funds that we budget for. The only one we don't have a budget for in this upcoming year is the Public Art Fund, but that is the fund where we have held the money for the Veterans and First Responders Task Force project, and so that's why it's displayed there. You will see then the 2024 beginning fund balance, which is of course the 2023 end of year fund balance, which was the audited number of $17,500,000. From there, I want to point out the general fund items. So you'll see the revenue estimate for 2024 is at $13,300,000. We had a budget of $11,100,000. The reason for that large difference is because we did not budget for the property tax, although you were kind enough to approve that property tax for us. And so we have started receiving the funds in early November, and we'll continue to receive those through December 31st for this first year of the reimplementation. So then you'll also see this expenditure estimate for the general fund of $11,400,000. And we did not budget anything in there for 2024 for the expenditures tied to that property tax revenue. So if you look all the way to the right-hand side of the 2024 end of year fund balance, you'll see an increase of almost $1,900,000. All of that is tied to the property tax. Without the property tax, we would actually be under. Expenditures would exceed revenues because we're receiving about $2.3 million in property tax for 2024. One other item I want to point out on the 2024 has to do with the transfers in and out. Every year it seems that we have to fund or transfer money to the road fund and share money by transferring money from what we've been doing lately is the capital improvement sales tax fund. And for 2024, we've had to transfer $760,663. It's going to, when I show you the next slide, you'll see it's going to have to increase by almost $200,000 in order to fund the road fund projects for 2025.
Sure.
Yes.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, just that last part.
So I said for the next year, the road fund basically has to be helped by other funds. Generally, it's the capital improvement sales tax fund. It cannot fund all the projects itself. And I didn't explain this, but there's one revenue source. It's the road and bridge tax that's in that fund, and it just can't provide enough funds to source all the expenditures that we have in road and bridge, in the road fund. So therefore, we transfer money, which is basically sales tax from the capital improvement fund to help pay for those costs.
And I think you said that 760 will be 200,000 more.
Yes, in
Yes.
2025, I'll show you in just a minute. Yes.
Okay.
So for 2025, then you will see the transfer in and out. That might be confusing to you because you won't see any of the numbers equal. The reason for that is because in 2025, we plan to transfer, with your approval, $1.5 million from the general fund to the capital fund for a reserve. The reason for that is we want to have some money set aside for future capital projects. And one of the things that we had said is with the implementation of the property tax, we would use some of that money for capital projects. And so this is what we're trying to do, is demonstrate that, in fact, that's exactly what we wish to do. So 1.5 million will be transferred into the capital fund in a reserve from the general fund. You don't see it down below in the transfers in and out because it's netted together. In the capital improvement fund, there's a transfer out of $940,554, and then a transfer in of $1,500,000. So that's why that nets out. But if it was by itself, you'd see the $940,554. So that's almost $200,000 more that the road fund is needing. So it's every year we have to transfer money into the road fund to help keep it sustainable.
Joanne, if you don't mind, may I just clarify that? So what you're saying then is that the 559 is the only amount of money that we're going to move to the capital improvement fund, and that will serve those future projects. Because the 1.5 million gets moved into the capital improvement fund, however, 940 comes out.
That's what I'm saying, yes.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Thank you.
And so hopefully for future years, we can get that figured out. I'll show you in just a minute because we have a lot of capital projects coming out at the capital improvement fund. So that's why it impacts it so much for 2025. But I just want to, on this slide, say one more thing about it, and that is then for the ending fund balance, it's not increasing by as much as it was in the prior year because we are transferring that money over to help with capital projects. It is anticipated to increase by about $500,000, however. I also want to point out that then you see the fund balance would be about 103%. The prior year was over 114%. So we are decreasing the percentages of fund balance, and I anticipate that to continue to decrease as we transfer funds from property tax into capital fund to help with our long-term capital projects. So this slide I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. You see this all the time. It just shows basically that the largest source of revenue, which is sales tax, and this is for all funds, is 50% of the revenue sources. On this next slide, this is on the expenditures. You'll see the largest portion, or the largest grouping here is police at 27%. The next one is fire and ambulance at 21%. Then if you look over here at the left-hand side, there's prosecution 1%, court 1%. So if you do the math there, that's also 50% of the all funds budget. Now I'm going to show you just for a minute the general fund. So this is the main operating fund of the city, and it is our largest fund. Basically, I want to show you at the very bottom, you'll see the change from prior year, and you'll see percentages. So you'll see 1.2%, 2.6, 2.3, and so on and so forth. All the way over, when you get to 2025, it looks kind of scary. What happened to my microphone? But you'll see it's 14.8% in 2025, but that's only because the $1,500,000 on that bottom line, when you see this right here, the transfer to other funds. So we're counting it as an expense. And so if you took it out, it would only be about 1.7% of a change instead of 14.8%. So it was general fund is actually a reduction in expenditures from 2024 to 2025. I'm going to go ahead and skip these next slides and then talk about general fund revenue highlights for just a moment. I already talked about the property tax piece. For 2025, the only additional item I want to add on that property tax is that I put in an increase of 2.5% because it is a reassessment year. However, I also want to note that we do not know what the impact of the senior property tax program will be, so we didn't even try to make a guesstimate on that. But we still believe that the 2.5% increase is still very conservative and will keep us within the budgeted expectations. I want to point out that the next one down is an it should be $1,500,000. The initial slide I had was that we were going to do $1,250,000, so I missed correcting that. It's correct in the budget document, but on that slide, I missed changing that to $1,500,000 on the transfer to capital improvement fund, capital reserves. I apologize about that error. The other part that I have been talking about is the sales tax slide, and you can see, I'll make it a little bit larger. Down here where you see the 2021 to 2022 percentage change, you see 9.8, but then it's down to 5.6. And then between 2023 and 2024, we see it at 2.5. It continues to decrease year over year by quite a bit. I really truly think that it has to do with a lot of purchases online, and we don't have the use tax, so we can't capture those online purchases.
Question, Joanne.
Yes,
If we were trying to capture what a use tax, how that would impact overall taxation, like, we ever done the numbers, like, would that be an additional
we
$500,000?
have calculated.
We've estimated 500,000 just based on what some other cities are bringing
So it
in,
could be
but
substantial. if we ever
Correct.
looked at that. Okay, thank you. Thanks.
So then the next slide on the general fund revenues has to do with business licenses, and there's a recommendation in your packet regarding an incentive program that will be shared a little bit later. And then this last item, the video franchisees, that's impacted by that waiver legislation related to the use tax. On the general fund expenditure highlights, this actually has to do with all funds. 33% of all funds is salary and benefits, so a third of your budget is salary and benefits for your employees. 31% is contractual services, and then the 27% is capital expenditures, so you don't have much left in the budget for like materials and supplies and things like that. With regard to the general fund, almost all of the departmental budgets have increases of no more than 3% from year to year. The difference, the only one that has a large difference is the insurance one, and that has to do with two items. One is workers' compensation insurance, and the other is property insurance. And with workers' compensation, we just had a lot more, a rating increase. I forgot the word for it, Bob.
our mod experience.
Modification, yes. Mod experience increased. And then we had some, with the property insurance, there were also some issues with regard to, I'm forgetting the word again.
Well, just claims in the region,
Claims.
regional, nothing particular to our experience. It's just property insurance. Everybody probably experiences it.
Thank you. So there's like, what was that? So I only want to show this slide to you. This is the police department slide, and I just want to show you how they've consolidated their line items from the prior year. This is what I want to do in other departments next year. I think it makes it a lot easier to follow with fewer line items. Instead of trying to sort through 3 separate line items for a particular item, it's all consolidated and much easier to follow. Then the next one, fire and ambulance summary. I just want to show you here where in 2025, we no longer have Central County Alarm because we believe that with our agreement with West County EMS and Fire Protection Services, that portion will be a part of the agreement with them and they'll pay for it for us. So then we'll only have this one particular piece in the budget, which is West County. And I already explained the insurance piece with Mr. Shelton's help. And road fund. These are some of the items in the road fund for the expenditures. And I just put a note under there about the transfer of $940,000, so almost $1 million is being transferred from capital to road fund to help the road fund stay in the black. Then the capital expenditures are here. They include $225,000 for firehouse roof repairs, $125,000 for the salt storage design and right of way, and then a larger amount for the municipal building design. And this is an estimate at this point, $1,150,000. And then the last item that I'm showing you here is for surveillance equipment, cameras and such. And this is 75% of the total cost on here.
Question, the firehouse, Weren't we doing a study on its long-term viability?
So what we have done is we hired, with the board's approval, Navigate to come in and look at the viability of both this building and the fire station. Their initial finding is that they're both very solid buildings. They both need major upgrades. So this amount is just an estimate of beginning to do some engineering, some design to get us to the next step of facility improvements. But the viability of the building itself, based on our inspections and everything, is that it's a very, very good building.
Do they have a pretty detailed plan for what needs to be done?
We will be presenting a somewhat detailed, this is conceptual,
Yeah.
it's not detailed, it's not schematic, but that would be coming to you in January.
And I think on the same line, good point, is that, there's a tendency of governments when they have extra money to spend it. What I would really like to do is, as soon as we can, if we can in January, that would be great. I don't think it'd be quite that soon. Have pretty hard numbers of what is it gonna take to get the firehouse up to code and where it needs to be, what it's gonna take to this facility here. So we have an actual idea to work with, a number to say, okay, it's gonna take, I'm gonna just pick a number. I'm gonna say it's gonna take $6.5 million to refurb both these places, whatever. I'm not just straight off the top of my head. But I really think that before we do a lot of decisions about other projects, I think knowing what these two projects are, what do they say? Well, it's gonna take 12 million, or what if it's 2 million? In other words, I really hope that we can, and again, if we have it by January, I'd be amazed, that would be great. Some really hard numbers about what it's gonna take to get, the reason we have that property tax, we have that reserve to do those things. How much of that reserve is it gonna take? And I think that would allow us to make intelligent decisions about other projects and think about, hey, if this number's coming really good, at what point can we cut that property tax back down to some degree? So because I think right now, until we get happy numbers, or accurate numbers, that'll hopefully be happy, it's really hard, I think, to make a decision about all kinds of projects until we actually have numbers. So,
January will not be hard numbers,
Okay.
but it will be, this is where we plan to go as the board in favor of going that way. And here's estimates.
I was the estimate then to have that numbers presented to the entire board.
Correct,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I think at that point, I think it'd be important to emphasize to them, look, these are conceptual numbers we need. And I know it can't be down to the dollar, I get it,
Right.
construction costs change and all of that kind of thing. But give me a timeline for when we have relatively hard numbers.
Okay.
I just think we need those before we make a lot of other decisions.
Definitely.
Hold on right now, I got a few other, Alderman Allen, I think I saw your light one first.
Thank you. And going back a couple of years, has this group prioritized the efficiency of, I know that at one point the fire district, or the firehouse, the heating and cooling was off the wall. So we should have a positive return on investment as far as operations, right? If we fix it.
A major focus of this investigation has been utilities and the environmental impact of efficiency of that facility.
Right, and which was actual cost to the city, because we had old equipment that was, it was inefficient, okay. And just to reiterate concerns that have been voiced through years ago, the infrastructure task force, and certainly the Ways and Means, is that we really are looking, doing hard looks to really focus on infrastructure, getting everything back up where it needs to be at this point, and doing what the whole concerns for the whole city.
Correct. The public infrastructure said number one ought to be public safety. So we need to have the facilities to provide for the public safety, police and fire.
Right.
Perfect.
Alderman Weezy.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to kind of follow up on your point, Bob or Michael, is the 1.1 million for the design, can you give just a brief overview of like what the expectations of that is?
So that would be bringing in mechanical, electrical engineers designed to get to those hard numbers of this will work from just a basic schematic. Yes, this will improve your infrastructure and any architectural work that may need to be done if you're moving walls or any kind of things like that. That all goes into this number.
That's the estimate that we've had,
That's a rough estimate, correct?
just for the design.
Correct. Yeah, 350,000 for the fire station, 800,000 here. Again, it's an estimate. We would go out and get proposals. But what we want to be sure we do is we have enough money as management partners and that we do the pre-planning before we start any work.
Yeah, Bob, I've just got one more quick question about this, and as it relates to the budget. In fact, while we're talking about the firehouse, Chief Stadler mentioned that new truck, the 109-foot truck, is going to come in near the end of February, maybe early March. How does that affect the numbers that we're seeing in the budget? Is there any impact from having a bigger piece of equipment?
From the cost of the equipment or the facility itself?
Well, I'm thinking from the cost of the equipment,
So-
because that's a rider.
Under the proposal that you will be having your first reading on tonight, the cost of the capital, which we used to pay separately, is now rolled into your rate. So that won't change our capital expense.
That's where it is.
Correct.
So then my last slide has to do with the Parks and Stormwater Fund. And this shows the expenditure highlights. And I won't go over those at any level, but if you have questions.
And I would butt in again, I apologize, but I think, Robert, you were talking about, didn't we get a pretty good grant on the preservation park?
We did. It was announced last week. We received grant funding, $470,000 for that.
I am continue to be amazed at how well we do on obtaining grants. And the people who write those grants and proposals, because they're obviously not necessarily need-based, based on our community. So the fact that we've been able, that's the third big one that we've got in the last 2 to 3 years.
It's very good.
Job. It just is.
It's actually 465,000 if we're putting that in the minutes. Still very good.
Alderman Murphy.
On the Parks and Stormwater Fund expenditures, I see surveillance equipment, upgrade 42. Is that also included in the earlier 129, or is that a separate?
That's this breakout. So this is the 25% in the Parks and Stormwater Fund, and the other portion is the 75% in the capital fund. We put the amount that's police and capital, the amount that's in parks in the park fund.
Thanks.
You're welcome, thank you. So there are 4 more slides in here, but there are 5-year CIP that I don't plan to cover.
Yeah, a quick question on the 5-year CIP. Not a huge deal.
Which
On,
page?
I
Which
think,
fund again?
on, I think the parks one. It has to do with the long view, yeah. The only question I had, I saw noticed today, so the parking lot's getting redone, and then there's is there a reason that the drain relocation is done in 26? I mean, I don't know the details of it, but it would just seem to make sense since the lot's getting ripped up. Could that be done at the same time without disrupting that area again?
Michael, are you familiar with that?
I'm familiar with the drain project. I have no idea why it's in a separate year.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, we'll take a look.
Good question.
Alderman Stein, you will. Here, sure.
Follow-up question on the road for the capital plan. Only because Chris and I just attended a homeowners association meeting where we were talking about Barrett Station. how do we impact this for future years if it's agreed upon that that street should be widened to a more appropriate width? Now that they're building more homes back there, that was their major concern, right? The road's too narrow, it's ours, we're repaving it for a significant amount, I think it's 70 grand, what that means more, like how do we impact this going forward?
I would just, the one thing, and I agree, that road, if it was widened, would be nice.
Yeah.
One thing I found, there's nothing is ever simple. Because I would believe for that, at least on one side of the road or the other, you're gonna have to have every single homeowner sign off for right of way. And I would almost think that's the first step, because correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not an expert on this, but if you can't get everyone to sign off on one side or the other, everything else you do is pointless.
There might be some right-of-way beyond the pavement, but I'm pretty sure that somebody has planted or put some, so you would have to have an initial study of how much right-of-way does the city have.
How do we start this? I agree with the mayor.
We-
To me, if we can start looking into it, because it was beyond just when it looked nice. There were some true safety concerns about going down that road, and because it's not even striped, is trucks veering over into their lane, and there's moms and dads with kids in their minivans. And now that we have more homes going in back there, to me, I would hate for something bad to happen if we could put it into our capital plan and fix it.
I agree, and I think, to your point, I think the first thing to do is find out,
See
let's all
what,
sit down, maybe you and I can sit down, what is the right of way that is there?
Yeah.
And then maybe, for incredibly lucky, it would all just already be there. I would be amazed. But at least we should see where we are. And I think that's the first step.
I love it.
Yeah. So,
Thank you,
yeah,
Mayor.
okay.
Yep. Nice sense.
Is there anybody from the public who wants to comment on proposed budget? I would now declare the public hearing closed.
I'm sorry. You went to the
You
public.
didn't do
No.
the button.
May I ask one more question?
Yes, absolutely.
Going back, and the public art fund, so it started off at the end of, beginning of this year, 20,000, and ended the year 168. Where did those revenues come from?
The revenues in the public art fund were from donations.
There was?
for the veterans and first
Veterans and first
responders.
responders donations.
You heard that?
He was sitting in that.
Are you good?
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
That's right. I now declare the public hearing closed, and I would encourage, because the budget is important, a lot of thought goes into it, everybody has questions, I have questions about it. I don't, reach out to Bob, reach out to Joanne, whoever you can to the next 2 weeks, and say, hey, what questions do I have, and does this make sense? And I would say, feel free to reach out to him, and, if you got issues, so we can kind of address them. All right, no appointments. Right now, I would recognize the board's opportunity to provide reports. Alderman Murphy.
Thank you, Chair. Wanted to kind of give an update on the Parks and Trails Commission. Again, to remind everyone, the Turkey Trot will be held on Thursday morning at Longview Park. 5K will start at 9 a.m., followed by the Fun Walk at 10 a.m. Thanks to Get Centered Counseling for the sponsorship. I have not been as excited as I am today for the holidays. It's an amazing event that we're going to have on December 7th. Please, everyone on the board, I welcome you to attend. I look forward to seeing you. We'll have a nice chat under the stars as the lighting of the tree happens. But the team has done a tremendous job of pulling this stuff together. We will have our Winterfest at Town Square Park on Saturday, December 7th from noon to 5. The Winterfest team wants to express the appreciation to our sponsors. People's National Bank is a community sponsor, lead sponsor. Balloon lighting has lit the park, and we'll actually have a second round of lighting set up the week of the event. Ben Mr. State Farm is sponsoring and supporting the Santa's Workshop. Straub's is a food sponsor. Nothing But Cakes is also a food sponsor. And we also recognize and appreciate the work of the young women from the National Charity League who will be volunteering throughout the event. So I look forward to seeing everyone there, and to the community, definitely you want to come on out on the 7th. Thank you.
Yeah, just a couple comments. Turkey trot is always good. It just is. And it's obvious that the scope of the Winterfest has grown exponentially from the first year, so congratulations on that. Alderman Hughes.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. The next meeting of the Architecture Review Board is set for Monday, December the 2nd at 5:30 here at the Municipal Center. And that's changing the date as it was listed in the minutes. So I just want to make sure that I corrected that. Apology. So all are welcome. Everybody have a nice holiday. Okay? Thank you.
Alderman Stein.
Thank you, Mayor. Hopefully this is an appropriate time. I just want to recognize with Chief Wilkie in the room that of the homeowners association's meetings that I've been to, including my own, what a remarkable job your officers do and how many positive comments I get back. Not only how they look like SWAT members with everything they carry on the best these days, but how proud they are, what a great job they present. And I apologize, I've forgotten some of the younger ones that are being started. More was the last one, and just the great feedback they give to the questions. They're knowledgeable, they're great answers. It makes everybody feel really good about our police department. And I think the last one we had 3 or 4 people that thanked them and like, we really support our police department, which is great, right? That's what we want. So, Chief, thank you very much. You're doing a great job, and so are they. So, thank you, Mayor.
Very much. Well said, and I would not trade our police force for anybody else. We have a wonderful police force. And honestly, we've got a wonderful city staff. We just do. Well, let's get on unfinished business and have a couple people here maybe able to get home if we get on there. Bill number 24-56, sponsored by Alderman Harder and Kinsella. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 2456 is an ordinance approving a conditional use and authorizing a conditional use permit for an accessory structure, a pergola located at 14236 Manderley Woods Drive in the city of Town and Country.
Thank you. I seek a motion and second to approve. So moved. Second. Thank you. Any discussion on that? I would ask the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Alderman Kinsella.
Aye.
Alderman Harder.
Aye.
Alderman Hughes.
Aye.
Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman Steinhubel.
Aye.
Alderman Schwer.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
And Alderman Weezahan.
Aye.
The bill passes unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4662.
Thank you. Next, bill number 24-57, sponsored by Alderman Steinhubel and Weezahan. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 2457 is an ordinance approving a conditional use and authorizing a conditional use permit for an accessory structure, a storage building located at 1707 Mason Knoll Road in the city of Town and Country.
Thank you. I seek a motion and second to approve.
So,
Do we have a second?
No, second.
Okay. And Alderman, under discussion, Alderman Steinhubel.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, hey, Alex, we weren't kidding. Like, this has motivated us to look into how we don't make citizens go through these hoops for a storage shed. Great. So you thought we might be joking beforehand, but we're not. We're looking into that for you. That's great. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I would ask the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Alderman Weezahan.
Aye.
Alderman Steinhubel.
Aye.
Alderman Schwer.
Aye.
Alderman Kinsella.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Harder.
Aye.
Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
And Alderman Hughes.
Aye.
The bill passes unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4663.
Great, thank you. Next, bill number 24-58, sponsored by board as a whole. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 2458 is an ordinance authorizing a renewal agreement with Delta Dental of Missouri for participation by the city of Town and Country in a group dental benefit plan for its employees.
I seek a motion and second to approve. So moved. Second. Any discussion or amendment on that? I would ask the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Alderman Schwer.
Aye.
Alderman Harder.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman Weezahan.
Aye.
Alderman Hughes.
Aye.
Alderman Steinigal?
Aye.
And Alderman Kinsella? The bill passes unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4664.
Next, moving on to new business. And I assume most of these are not all, is supported by the board as a whole. Next is bill number 24-59. Without objection, would the city clerk read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 2459 is an ordinance approving the budget and authorizing budgeted expenditures for the budget year beginning January 1, 2025.
Bill number 24-59 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 9, 2024, for the second reading and consideration. Next, bill number 24-60, also I believe sponsored by the board as a whole. Without objection, would the city clerk read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 2460 is an ordinance regarding the rate of compensation for employees of the city of Town and Country and repealing ordinance numbers 4598 and 4614.
Thank you. Bill number 24-60 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 9, 2024, for the second reading and consideration. Next, bill number 24-61. I would say board as a whole minus already used. Would that be fair?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 2461 is an ordinance approving a deer management plan and authorizing a wildlife management service agreement between the city of Town and Country, Missouri and White Buffalo, Inc. for professional deer management services.
Thank you. Bill number 24-61 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 9th, 2024, for the second reading and consideration. Next, bill number 24-62 is sponsored by the board as a whole. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 2462 is an ordinance accepting the bid of Corvus Janitorial for 2025 custodial services at city-owned buildings and parks and authorizing a maintenance agreement for same.
Thank you. Bill number 24-62 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 9th, 2024, for the second reading and consideration. Next, bill number 24-63, also board as a whole. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 2463 is an ordinance accepting the bid of the Greenwood Group for the 2025 grounds care program and authorizing an agreement for same.
Thank you. Bill number 24-63 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 9, 2024, for the second reading and consideration. Next, bill number 24-64, also board as a whole. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 2464 is an ordinance accepting the bid and authorizing an agreement with T Hill Construction for the 2025 on-call roadway maintenance program.
Thank you. Bill number 24-64 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 9, 2024, for the second reading and consideration. Next, bill number 24-65, again, sponsored board as a whole. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 2465 is an ordinance accepting the bid and authorizing an agreement with Gershner Electric, Inc. for 2025 on-call traffic signal maintenance and repair.
Bill number 24-65 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 9, 2024, for the second reading and consideration. Next, bill number 24-66, again, board as a whole. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 2466 is an ordinance authorizing adoption of the Second Amendment to the 2023 Fire Protection and Ambulance Service Agreement and the First Amendment to the 2023 Lease Agreement with West County EMS and Fire Protection District.
Bill number 24-66 is continued to the meeting on Monday, December 9, 2024, for the second reading consideration. That might also be a bill you have questions on, so make sure you read that thoroughly and forward any questions you might have. Next, bill number 24-67, sponsored by the board as a whole. Without objection, will the city clerk read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 2467 is an ordinance authorizing the city administrator to waive inspection fees on certain office space renovations during the 2025 calendar year.
Thank you. Bill number 24-67 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 9, 2024, for second reading and consideration. The warrant list, I think, for me, at least since I've been here, an all-time low, $88,970.33. Seek a motion and second to approve.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion or amendment on it? Alderman Allen.
Thank you, Mayor. It's not real often that I am very happy and thrilled to see a cost go through on the warrant list. But we do have the acoustic panels and installation at Longview. And we have waited for those. It's in the 24 budget, and I know Ms. Nixon, thank you. Many of us have been to meetings, and it's very difficult to hear, and that would be a great addition,
Yes.
and dollars well spent.
Thank you for those comments. Alderman Hughes.
Thank you, Mayor. On page 2, I'm looking at the water bill for Town Square. Is that, I mean, that's significant over the other locations. So that's what I was just wondering if someone could address that question.
There's a lot of grass there.
Right? Irrigation?
Well, I can answer that. We have a half of a billing cycle that irrigation was still on there. The bill is half of what it was on the last warrant list, if you
Okay.
remember. But so you should see it considerably lower on the next.
Okay, irrigation. Okay, thank you.
Alderman Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to elaborate on what Alderman Allen had asked about. The acoustic panels came in at 6607. What was the total project cost on that?
15,000.
And that is against the $22,000 budget item. So
Correct.
That's nice.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried unanimously. I do not have any other business, but we'll open up the Alderman if there's anything else they want to bring up. Alderman Hughes.
Thank you, Mayor. I spoke with the anonymous donor, and the anonymous donor was able to do approximately half of the cost of the pet waste bags, with the understanding that the other half of the cost will be after the first of the year, because there are a lot of animal charities that need food donations between now and December 31st. So
Well, again, express the city's thankfulness to the time.
you're welcome.
Alderman Stein.
So Mayor, my daughter also had an anonymous donor give her $30 this morning, because Ann allowed her to show up for the turkey trot, so he made her day in, so thank you very much. And that anonymous donor gave that to her today, so she's gonna not lose my first day.
That's a good one. I like that. All right, I seek a motion and second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Everybody have a nice
Good job,
night.
Mayor. Good job. And for the city, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
So,
Good job, Joanne.